Hello everyone. In today's game we are going to have a look at the game that was played between Fischer and Larsen in 1958. Fischer was 14 years old back then, and he actually played against um, Larsen famous dragon variation, which was his specialty back then. And we will see Fischer with the white pieces starting with e4. We know that Fischer was a big believer in playing e4, and he said his famous words, e4 is the best boy test. And Larsen will play Sicilian dragon, so it goes c5 and f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, n takes d4, and then n f6, nc3, and then g6, which is the dragon variation. Now Fischer plays bishop e3. Black has to play bishop g7. If he tries ng4 to annoy the bishop on e3, then comes in bishop b5 check, and black should lose a piece. For example, if he plays bishop d7, then white can simply capture on g4 with the queen, and the black bishop cannot actually capture back because it is pinned. So black instead played bishop g7, and now white played f3 to prevent in g4. Black castled to the king side, and then white played queen d2, in c6, bishop c4, and the usual move here is g4, but Fischer came up with his new idea back then, which was bishop c4. Knight took on d4 by Larsen, which was not actually his best move. The best move according to the computer nowadays is knight e5, trying to kick that bishop on c4. And if you play bishop to back to e2, you play a6 and then f4 in eg4, trying to get rid of the black bishop on e3, and the game is equal. But that's not what Larsen did. So what Larsen did was he took on d4 with the knight, and then Fischer played bishop takes d4. And now, as we can see, the both bishops on d4 and c4 are eyeing black's king side, and they are ready to attack. So Larsen was trying to defend himself. He played bishop e6 to attack the bishop on c4, and trying to prove that bishop c4 was wrong. And now Fischer played bishop b3, not willing to capture on e6 and give black a majority in the center. Larsen played queen a5, and if black simply would have captured on b3 like bishop takes b3, then white can capture back with the a pawn, and now there's an attack on the a7 square. So that's why black chose to play queen a5. White simply castled queen side, and then black started his own attack with b5. Now Fischer played just an automatic move, which is king b1, which is a very good idea if you actually remove the king from the same square that it shares with the queen, and then b4. And now Black played b4 and d5, and now the bishop took on d5, and now Fischer captured with the bishop on d5, and then black played rook a c8. According to the computer analysis, like black should have played knight takes d5, e takes d5, queen takes d5, and black stands a little bit equal or better. And now the best reply for white is queen takes b4, and now black can play rook f b8 and attack the queen, and he is still in the game. But that's not what happened. What happened was, after white captured on d5, the rook came to c8, and now Fischer played his bishop back to b3, and black cannot actually capture the bishop anymore. And now the problem is black will suffer really too much, because there's an automatic attack that we will see in few moves, and it will start really slaying the dragon. So black played rook c7, preparing his to double his rooks on the c file. And now I played h4, queen b5, preparing for a5, h5, and now rook f c8, h took on g6, capture back with the h pawn, and now g4 came in. The most accurate move was bishop e3, when black might actually continue the game. a5, bishop h6, a4, bishop takes g7, and now the king has to take, and that's actually going to lead to a checkmate in 2. Instead, Fischer played g4, which was not an accurate move, and now black played a5, and Fischer continued on with g5, which wasn't the right idea. But in h5, rook takes on h5, and now the attack starts. G takes h5, and the right move according to the computer was not to capture back the rook straight away, but you should have captured that bishop on d4 first, and then when the queen captures, you take the rook, and then g6, and then you play rook c4, returning back the exchange sacrifice, and if g takes f7, then the king will take back, and there's no more attack for white. Now, that's not what happened in the game. So as we said before, black took on h5 straight away, and here we go. Now white will play g6, e5, trying to defend himself, but it's too late. G takes on f7 with a check. The king will move into f8 because that's the only available square. Bishop e3, and now he's threatening bishop h6. d5, trying to flee the scene. E takes d5, rook takes f7, d6, attacking the rook, rook f6, and now starts a massacre, bishop g5, and as you can see now, if you try to, for example, escape with that rook anywhere, bishop e7 is coming. If you move your king to e8, d7 check, king takes e7, promotion to a queen, rook takes queen, and then queen takes d8 with a checkmate. So Larsen played queen b7 to avoid all this. And now, here we go. Bishop takes f6. Bishop takes back on f6. d7. Rook d8. Queen d6. And here actually Larsen resigned, because if you play king g7, then white will follow with rook g1, check, king h7, queen takes f6, and then queen takes d7, queen g6 check, king h8, queen takes h5, queen h7, queen takes e5 check, queen g7, and queen takes queen checkmate. So that was actually our analysis for the first game that we chose today from my 60 Memorable Games by Fischer. I hope you enjoyed the new analysis by the computers, and that will actually show us that some of the old masters games are not as accurate as we thought they were, but of course many of the strategic ideas were excellent and very instructive. I hope actually that I will see you in the next game, that we will actually continue from this series about my 60 memorable games. I enjoyed being with you today, and I will see you next time. Thank you.